and good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're calling in from, folks. I'm Mark Johnston, your host here for VID5 Conferences, sponsored this session by Laurentian Bank Securities. And I have the great pleasure at the top of the hour here to welcome from Lima, Peru, Jorge Ganoza, the president and CEO of Fortuna Silver Mines. Mr. Ganoza, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, and a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. I will step to the side for our presentation and join you on the Q&A. I remind our audience to please put your questions into the Q&A section, and we'll see you after the presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Ganoza.
Perfect, thank you. So I'll go on. Well, good morning to all, and thanks for joining this session today. Cautionary statements. Well, at Fortuna, we continue pursuing our vision or executing on our mission. We have on July of this year announced the completion of a material transaction for the company, which is the acquisition of Roxgold. With that, we have been able to provide the company for a platform for growth in one of the most exciting gold developing regions in the world. We have been able to bring together and strengthen a quality team of mining professionals. We have been able to diversify our portfolio. We today present one of the best free cash flow yields in the industry, and have provided and sourced the company with our most exciting pipeline for growth, which I'm going to be telling you about. So our footprint has expanded, as I show here in the slide. We have a strong base of assets spread throughout the Americas, from Mexico all the way down south to Argentina, and now with our Yaramoko mine in Burkina Faso and our development project Séguéla in Côte d'Ivoire, we have a presence, a strong presence in, as I mentioned before, one of the fastest gold developing regions in the world. The largest gold producer in the world is China. China produces about 380 tons of gold annually. If we group the gold production coming out of Ghana, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, southern Mali, Senegal, if we group the production out of this small geographic region that would fit in the state of Texas, just for reference, or fit within half of Peru, this small region would be the second largest gold producing region in the world, with about 366 tons of gold per year, ahead of Australia, Russia, the US, Canada. There is no other region in the world exceeding the kind of growth in gold reserves and gold production like the Birimian Rock Belt, Greenstone Belt of West Africa exhibits. So Q3 of this past quarter, it was the first quarter where we presented combined results post-transaction. Consolidated results incorporating the business in West Africa for the first time. And another significant event took place in Q3. Our Lindero mine in Argentina, after a tortuous and slow ramp-up impaired by the COVID pandemic, started exhibiting the strength of the mine and the benefits of the mine. So we had record production out of Argentina in the third quarter as well. So the combination of the consolidated results from West Africa and the increased production coming out of Argentina led to a very material increase in gold production in the quarter comparing to a year ago. So as we show here, or gold production jumped to about 65,000 ounces of gold. That's an increase of 400+% compared to a year ago. Or silver production in the quarter in the range of 1.7 million ounces of silver, and or byproduct zinc and lead coming out of our mine in Peru. So our combined gold equivalent production in the quarter amounted to 88,000 ounces of gold. That's gold equivalent. And again, our Lindero mine in Argentina had a record quarter in terms of production, and we're looking even to a stronger Q4 to close the year. When we look at year-to-date production, well, our guidance for the year is in the range of 280 to 320,000 ounces of gold equivalents for 2021. We're going to meet that target guidance. We're currently, as of end of Q3, at 203,000 ounces equivalent. But bear in mind that it is this second half of the year that our production is growing as a result of the acquisition and Lindero. So with those strong production results, Q3 financials were also coming in strong. We're starting to exhibit the strength of the business. So our sales increased 95% compared to a year ago to $162 million. Our adjusted EBITDA jumped 78% from $42 million in Q3 2020 to $75 million in Q3 2021. But more importantly, we managed to keep the margins of the business. We managed to keep running the business with an adjusted EBITDA margin north of 45%. And our adjusted net income, that's adjusting for acquisition cost and transaction cost, amounted to $22 million. People are key. And with the Roxgold transaction, we've been able to integrate into Fortuna a seasoned and quality team of professionals. What I show here in the slide is the team that the executive team that works closely with me in making Fortuna a reality every day. So a team of not only technically strong people, but a team that has been running successfully businesses in West Africa and LATAM, right? Lots of experience in both regions. Our asset portfolio. So today, we as I mentioned before, we operate 4 mines and are in the process of delivering our 5th operating mine. This would be the Séguéla Gold Project. We made the construction decision in Séguéla in September. We announced it publicly, and we are targeting first gold by mid-2023. Séguéla is a very robust project. Once in production, Séguéla, for the initial years, will be producing in the range of 130 to 140,000 ounces of gold. And the internal rate of return of this project at spot prices is in the high 30s, low 40s. And below Séguéla, we have a robust pipeline of exploration opportunities spread through the West African region in Burkina and Côte d'Ivoire mainly, and through Latin America, where the countries where we operate. Going into a review of our mines and projects, I'll start with Lindero. Lindero is our newest operating mine. We produced first gold at Lindero in October of 2020. And over the past year, it's been a difficult ramp-up. Argentina is a country that implemented one of the strictest quarantines in the world, locking up the borders to foreigners. So the ramp-up and commissioning and ramp-up process at this mine could not benefit from foreign technical support, and foreign operational support as well. The team has done a great job. And in this third quarter, we were able to stabilize our systems at a steadily within a range of 20% of design capacity. That's 80% accomplishment plus of design capacity. So we're trending in the right direction. The mine is running on all cylinders in the fourth quarter, and we had a record production of 26,000 ounces of gold in Q3, and we're looking forward to an even stronger Q4 to close the year. The more fundamental things about the performance here is that the conciliation of reserves to production, the metallurgical performance are all tracking in line with design and expectations. So the mechanical issues around the ramp up, all of those are largely behind us now. And what we're looking for now is more stable, steady operations within the range of design parameters. Moving on to our operations in Mexico, the San Jose mine is a mine that traditionally has ranked among the top 10, 13 largest primary silver producers in the world. The mine is located in southern Mexico. And unfortunately, the good results of the third quarter of the year for the corporation were tainted by the fact that the Mexican Environmental Agency has denied the extension of the environmental permit for this mine. In anticipation, when we identified late in the process a risk to a delay and potentially a denial of that extension, we initiated court actions in Mexico to protect our rights. So the mine has not lost one day of operations. The permit expired on October 23rd, but the mine continues operating under the protection of the courts while we engage with government officials trying to solve this unfortunate situation. We believe we are in material compliance with every aspect required to grant the extension of the 10-year environmental permit for this mine. We have a strong advocacy from the Secretary of Economics, the Secretary of Government, the Governor of Oaxaca, congressmen, senators. But we are still working through the process with the environmental agency. This is a mine that has a clean track record of performance with over 12 inspections from the environmental agency and never been cited for pollution, environmental damage, or contamination. So we believe, we have high hopes this issue will be resolved. It's most unfortunate, but we remain optimistic that the issue will be resolved, hopefully promptly, for the benefit of all stakeholders. Our operating mine in Peru, the Caylloma mine is a historic producer. Caylloma is a mine that helps build the narrative of the history of Peru over the past 500 years. This mine has been raided by Inca revolts 300 years ago. I mean, it's a mine that's incredible and continues operating, continues performing. I never seen this mine with the type of resources that and reserve that we exhibit. We're looking forward to exhibit in 2022. It's not a cornerstone asset for the company today, but it's a mine that performs in the hands of a good, solid team. And as I always say, this mine is not going to shut down in my watch. It's been operating for 500 years, and I look for many, many more years, no? Where all of our operations are concentrated on the Animas vein, which is the main producing structure for the past decade. But just like Animas, we have multiple other opportunities there within our property package, right? It's a mine that consistently generates free cash for the corporation. It's not our largest free cash flow contributor, but certainly an asset that we treasure in the portfolio and gives us good, solid presence in a mining country like Peru. With respect to our brownfields exploration opportunities in the Americas, an exciting one is Arizaro, located 3.5 kilometers due south of our Lindero mine within our property package. Arizaro is a gold porphyry system that's been drill tested over the years, and what we're pursuing here are opportunities for high-grade satellite deposits that can contribute to the Lindero mine, to the Lindero infrastructure. We're not looking necessarily for a standalone mine here because, again, the close proximity to our infrastructure at Lindero, but rather satellite deposits that can provide additional ore to Lindero. Just a reminder, Lindero has reserves for currently about 13 years of mine operations, and if we consider resources, that goes to 15 years plus. So, this is an exciting opportunity we're looking to pursue. We believe it could help improve the grade profile of the mine over the coming years. But we're advancing with this exploration opportunity. In the case of our San Jose mine, at San Jose, we work one vein, or for the past 10 years since we started mining at San Jose, we've been working and sitting on one vein out of an entire district. So we have multiple exploration opportunities here, some which are, broader in the scale of the district, and others more near mine, like the one we show here, which is called the Trinidad Footwall North, which is a parallel set of veins to the ones where we've been producing. So this mine continues, this deposit continues to provide opportunity in and around the mine and within the bigger property package. And at Cayoma, as I said, a long history and a bright future still ahead of it. Multiple opportunities that we continue to pursuing. There is no shortage of drilling ideas at Cayoma. We are starting to contemplate a potential expansion of the Cayoma mine. That's a project that we would like to tackle with some engineering through 2022 to see if the potential expansion of this mine is something that we can tag after we deliver the Séguéla mine into production in mid-2023. So we have a big portfolio of high-value opportunities today, considering what we brought in with the Roxgold acquisition. And we're assessing all of these opportunities from the portfolio perspective, right? Moving on to our operations in West Africa, or Yaramoko mine in Burkina Faso. Yaramoko is located in the Honde district, due west of the capital city of Ouagadougou. Yaramoko has been producing gold since 2016. Today, we run the mine at design capacity, 1,500 tons per day, with head grades of around 7 grams per ton. Steady performer, good free cash flow generator, and And our newest and most exciting growth opportunity right now is Séguéla, located in northwestern Côte d'Ivoire. Séguéla is a project that where the exploration team has been able to deliver and exhibit the type of opportunity that this project represents. I believe Séguéla moving forward is going to be a cornerstone asset for the company. 2 years ago, Séguéla had 400,000 ounces of gold in resources. 2 years ago, 24 months ago. Today has over 1 million ounces of gold in reserves, continues growing, and we've been able to, the team has been able to deliver a robust feasibility study and launched into construction decision, which we announced on this past month of September. The capital cost, total capital cost estimate to deliver this project into production is 173 million. As I said, we expect first gold around mid-2023. West Africa, Côte d'Ivoire are established mining regions by now with all the necessary industry clusters to support an efficient construction. We have already assigned the main contracts for the project. Lycopodium is going to be the EPC on a fixed sum amount for 65% of the capex, therefore reducing construction risk. The balance of the capex is being managed by us, which basically the camp, which as you see here is virtually done. The camp is ready by the end of December for occupation, and it's going to start receiving the mobilization of contractors in January. And the company will also be executing, as part of the strategy, excavations, working with Knight Diesel as EPCM and power connection. So outside of camp excavations and power connection, the bulk of the scope of the project is in the hands of Lycopodium. The risk of camp construction and camp delivery to the timeline is behind us. The risk of delivery on key equipment and packages is largely behind us, as we have placed an early placement of purchase orders for key equipment packages. No, so the capex. Right before we announced publicly the construction in the month of September, we brought in an updated consideration of $24 million to the capex, which considered inflation and potentially extended timeline, since we had the purchase orders for the equipment, we had fixed delivery times. So we accommodating all of those delivery times and whatnot, we adjusted our timeline and budget, and those are the figures that we present here. No, the 173 million and 20-month estimated construction schedule. And sharing with you one of the things we're most excited about here is the exploration potential of Séguéla. Sunbird is an exciting discovery. It's not part of our resource inventory yet. We're gonna integrate Sunbird into the resource early next year. But as you can see here, mineralization remains open on multiple directions. Mineralization stretches continuously for over a kilometer. We have 30 meters with 17 grams gold, 2 meters with 7 grams gold, 20 meters with 2.9. So we continue drilling here. Look forward to an update news release on exploration activities that will be providing significant more detail on our progress at Séguéla, and particularly at Sunbird. Kula, another example of how we've been able to advance exploration rapid and incorporate those discoveries rapidly into the production plan. Kula was a discovery only a year ago, and today is part of the reserve for Séguéla, and it will be one of the highest grade open pits in the world. It will be will be mining 7 to 8 grams gold at the Kula open pit, and then transitioning to an underground operation where mineralization remains open at depth and on parallel structures, as we show here on this circle that we highlight here. And within the property package at Séguéla, we have over 40 targets, just like Gabbro North that we show here, that still remain to be drill tested. Gabbro is in northernmost end of the property. We placed a few holes, and sure enough, have been able to project a third dimension into this discovery. There were some artisanal pits on surface, and with a few holes, we've been able to come up with an exciting drilling target that we are going to be pursuing further through 2022. But as we show here, 8 meters with 39 grams gold, 4 meters with 23 grams gold, 5 meters with 9, 5 meters with 2.5. So, this just speaks about the exploration potential of Séguéla. I believe Séguéla, today Séguéla has 9-10 years of life of mine based on reserves, and we have a high degree of conviction that it's going to continue to expand over the years. And our greenfields explorations initiatives throughout the Americas, we are focused in Mexico and have some exciting projects in Argentina. And in West Africa, we have our exploration. The most advanced exploration project in the portfolio globally today is the Bosura project in southeastern Burkina Faso. We also have a series of exploration opportunities, earlier stage exploration opportunities in a portfolio in Côte d'Ivoire. At Bosura, there's still more work to do to define a mineable resource, but certainly there is no shortage of structure, there is no shortage of high grades, and this is a project we remain most excited about, and I believe has the potential to be our next development project. And to wrap up the presentation, I have two following slides on ESG performance. ESG is a topical issue for the industry and certainly for our stakeholders. Here we show our prioritized corporate KPIs. We have starting a few years back, we initiated a process of strengthening or strategy, implementing more resources to adequately manage the complexities of a changing environment, of heightened expectations on ESG, right? And pay for performance, very important, and this starts from the top down, and as I show here, CEO pay is 76% at risk. So with that, I will conclude my presentation and turn it back for Q&A.
Terrific. Jorge, thank you very much for that overview of where the operations are with the company and the bird's eye view perspective. Much appreciated. And at this time, of course, we're going to hand this over to our Q&A section. Questions from the audience. We encourage everyone again to drop your question in the Q&A column, but we already have quite a bit of activity here, Jorge. I'm going to start off with a question from our colleague, Barry Allen. Any security concerns operating in Burkina Faso at the moment?
Well, certainly Burkina is a country that over the last years has been impacted by the spread of violence coming from the Sahel, the northern, through its northern border with Mali and through Niger, right? So there have been very deadly and serious and deadly incidents, uh, mainly situated along that northern Burkina border with Mali and eastern Burkina border with Niger. There have been some incidents in the capital city of Ouagadougou as well, more sporadic. Uh, Something we assessed coming into the acquisition was the risk. There is certainly a latent risk, security risk all through Burkina. Now, the mines located in central western Burkina are a bit more isolated from that violence. But nevertheless, we take all precautionary measures. We fly in and out personnel, and we have a good government presence and protecting infrastructure and personnel, and also security, private security as well.
Okay. Thank you very much for the context there, Jorge. We would like a couple of the questions here. One saying, can you speak to the exploration upside to extend the mine life at Yaramoko?
Yes. Yaramoko currently has, 4 or 5 years plus of reserves, but some of those reserves involve the recovery of the crown pillar that would condemn the underground mine. So pushing the exploration on the Yaramoko deep, on the 55 zone deep, is a priority. We have the team has been focusing on that, and we continue to focus there as well. We have good visibility on opportunities there that we want to pursue. There are also other opportunities in and around, like the 101, 109 zone, where we have the team is putting together what I believe will be a small resource, probably in the range of 30 to 50,000 ounces gold, but something that speaks about the immediate near mine potential. No, so we have two areas: the 55 deep, where we're aggressively pursuing drilling, and areas within the immediate vicinity of the mine. No, so we have well-funded exploration programs. Like they say in the financial industry, past performance is no measure of future success. So we've been able to replace, add, and we expect we can continue doing that at these mines through our programs. Right?
Terrific. Thank you very much for that. Moving over, can you tell me a little bit about the look ahead here, Jorge? The say 3 to 5 year margin. Do you expect more mergers and acquisitions, or mainly exploration?
Over the next 2 or 3 years, what you will see us is focusing on harvesting the portfolio. We have put together with the acquisition a most exciting pipeline of high value opportunities that we need to harvest for the benefit of our shareholders before going out thinking about the next acquisition. So in our case, we do make acquisitions, but if you look at our track record, we go out and make acquisitions once we believe the high value opportunities of organic growth have been harvested. No? That's not to say that you can always continue growing your resources and whatnot, but with this acquisition, we have expanded our reserves from 2.5 million ounces of gold equivalents to 4.2 million ounces of gold equivalent. We've been able to expand our reserves by 73% to north of 4 million ounces of gold. And we have the development of Séguéla. I believe once Séguéla is in production, we have a high degree of conviction that the immediate discussion is going to be, okay, should we be expanding it or not, right? So we have Bosura coming in. We have the potential expansion of the Cayoma mine, and the exploration in and around Lindero, San Jose. So, we plan to maintain a well-funded exploration programs. We currently have 12 drill rigs turning throughout our properties, and harvest the portfolio. Over the next 24, 36 months, you'll see us focusing on that.
A good look ahead. Thank you, Jorge, for that. I want to turn focus here to a question from our investor, Jacques. Despite prior guidance in July that Lindero should be at design capacity by Q4, the Q&A of the Q3 in 21 investor analyst call indicated that operations were at around 80% of design capacity. Is management still targeting the revised timeline of Q2 in 22 to reach 100% of design capacity? And any progress in the last 4 weeks?
Yes. We need we have probably a semantics issue here. The systems operate at design capacity. They operate at design capacity. What we have going into 2022, the first half of 2022, is scheduled downtime.
Okay.
We need to still make improvements to dust control systems. We need to make changes to the liners of the agglomerating drums and things like that. We need to make a repair on the primary crusher Grizzly. So all of those are scheduled downtime that will affect our ability to, if you multiply 18,750 tons per day times 355 days for the year, we're not going to be able to do the 355 days because, we have, 15 days through the first half of the year of downtime, scheduled downtime. So the mine is performing according to design.
Okay.
Right.
Part of the schedule. Thank you very much for that. Curious on this point, Jorge, if you could talk about global jurisdictions. Do you see Fortuna going into other global jurisdictions, and what's appealing about that into the future?
No, as I said, operating in 2 continents, in 5 countries, brings complexity to the business, no doubt, right? But we also believe that in this business, you have to go where the gold is, right? You create value in this business by identifying quality assets and delivering operational and financial discipline. Yes. So here the operating word is, aren't we stretching thin to deliver that operational and financial discipline? And part of this relies on how effective you are, relies on where you are located. So even though West Africa might have sound like a world away from Latin America, it is established mining jurisdiction. I'll share something with you. We had a pinion failure at our Yaramoko mine in the month of August. If you have a pinion failure in a place like Mexico, in a place like Peru, in a place like Chile, it's an issue that you can take you down 4 or 5 days, right? If a pinion failure occurs in a place like in a non-mining jurisdiction, it's a headache that will have you down 15, 20 days.
Yes.
Right. The pinion failure in Burkina was quickly serviced from the manufacturer's base in Ghana, and the downtime on the pinion failure was 4 or 5 days. No, in line with what you would expect or what we would expect in an established mining jurisdiction. So West Africa is an established mining jurisdiction. You have all the clusters, industry clusters that support an efficient, the efficient running of the business.
Yes.
And that's key, right? Because that also helps boost our ability to efficiently run the business.
Understood.
Right? So even though we have geographic dispersion, that dispersion is in areas where you can effectively and efficiently run mines. We're not running a mine in, call it Serbia
Yeah.
or a place like that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Or a place that hasn't doesn't have a mining culture. Today you find, Lycopodium. Lycopodium, who is our EPC for the Seguela construction, is just coming out of 3, 4 successful builds in Cote d'Ivoire,
Mhm.
right? So they have the knowledge, the lay of the land, know the territory, know the good contractors from the bad contractors.
Yes.
We benefit from all of that. So we are looking to stay in the jurisdictions where we are for some time to come as we continue harvesting the portfolio.
Very good. Thank you for that, Jorge. I always like to turn focus briefly for our investors here to the team behind the company. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about your board and some of the top talent that you have at the company, because as investors, it's always important to know the people behind the brand. So I wonder if you could take a few moments just to describe to our audience, Jorge, about some of the key players that work with you on a day-to-day basis and where some of the strengths are, in your opinion.
Yes, I'll start with the board. No, Tone at the top, right? David Lang is our chairman.
Mm-hmm.
David, I really benefit from having someone with that kind of industry depth and knowledge of the industry. David is a world, is a mining executive with a world of experience through regions, through type of deposits. He's been in banking, in operations, um, as chief operating officer, as advisor. He has operating experience in Latin America and operating experience in West Africa as well. No, he was one of the initial technical leaders in Endeavor Mining.
Mm-hmm.
So he has operating experience through West Africa, through the Americas. I mean, it's just incredible to have that wealth of experience at our disposal at the board. And the board is a well-rounded team of individuals with industry experience and experiences from other walks as well. No, we have incorporated with the transaction Kate Hardcore, who has a strong ESG background and experience in Africa as well.
Very good.
No, Alfredo Sillo, who is a seasoned LATAM businessman.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Schottlander, who's a co-founder of the company. And on more on the executive side, I just try to surround myself with people who know more than I do.
Fair point. Fair point. Excellent.
And try to provide direction and coordination with a really a group that's a pleasure to work with. So today, West Africa is under the leadership of Paul Criddle, our Chief Operating Officer for West Africa.
Yeah.
LATAM is under the leadership of Cesar Velasco, our Chief Operating Officer for LATAM.
Mm-hmm.
Or world explorations under the leadership of Paul Whedon.
Mm-hmm.
And something key for us is technical services.
Okay.
Technical services is a corporate function under the leadership of Eric Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
And we spend enormous amount of resources doing accounting and keeping our accounting records in check. But sometimes I ask myself if mining companies take the same care in accounting for their most treasurable resource, which is their resources on the ground. No?
Yeah.
So Eric is the person who ensures our accounting of resources, reserves, is sound and accurate, because that is the base for all of our budgeting and projections, right? So, I mean, it's just a strong team of technical people with business experience, and it's a pleasure to work with them. Yeah.
Fantastic. A well-rounded team. And I always appreciate the humility of a lead voice in a company surrounding themselves, as you say, with people that know more than they do. It's a great side. I would like to ask a little bit, because we had the great pleasure, Jorge, as you know, of Rob McEwen starting us off today with an overview of the industry, key indicators, history and context of the mining industry itself. I'm wondering if you could provide your perspective, Jorge, on the difference between the short game and the long game. People coming into this space as investors, when to hold space and just hold your moment and know that things will over time ebb and flow versus kind of the short-term gains. What would your advice be to investors of diving into the mining industry and knowing how to play the game with some wisdom and knowledge?
Yes. I'll share with you, my perspective, not necessarily trying to get in the investor, in the shoes of the investor, and perhaps that can be taken by investors. And one of the biggest challenges I see CEOs in mining companies have in any industry basically is being able to reach this balance between the short-term pressures from the market and the pressure for quarterly results, and the long-term decisions that an industry like us demands, right? Mining is a long, the horizons for investment in mining are long.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes investors have short-term pressures, and we understand and value that, right? Quarterly performance. Not everybody can invest for the long term, and we have some investors that have the luxury of taking those longer views on investment. Not all of them.
Yes.
So that's something that we look at, and I try to balance, those in the decision-making process. But mining does require long-term vision, and something important for us in Fortuna as part of our strategy, and not necessarily shared by everybody in the industry, is that we look for assets and opportunities that can perform throughout the precious metals price cycle.
Yes.
A lot of people ask me about my view on metal prices, on gold and silver, and I disappoint them because I tell them that I'm price agnostic. I am price agnostic. I always hope for better prices, but I cannot run the business hoping for better prices. I am price agnostic. So I try to put together a portfolio of assets and run them in a way that can perform throughout the precious metals price cycle. And that is the way in which we can provide optionality to the investor. Because if an investor can come in and out of the mining sector of a specific company, I can't. I'm here every day. I am responsible for 5,000 employees and thousands of stakeholders in and around our mines. So I cannot take a short-term view of in and out. I'm here for the long term. And I have to provide optionality to all of these stakeholders. And the way I can do that is identifying assets that can perform throughout the precious metals price cycle and operate them responsibly for the long run. I know that some investors like the leverage to a rising commodity, to a rising gold or rising silver, and getting involved in these high cost challenged assets, thinking that you have a lot of leverage once price just shoots. Because at $85 silver, cost won't matter. We don't subscribe to those theories, to those ideas, investment theses. Call us boring and conservative, perhaps, but we try to identify assets that I say can perform throughout the precious mine cycle. If you look at what we've been doing at Fortuna with the last acquisitions, we are migrating our assets base from this, high CISL high margin vein type underground mines to more open pit type deposits with longer life of reserves, more predictability, which are the type of assets that give investors optionality over time, reserves of 10 years plus at the asset.
Mm-hmm.
We are starting to put together a balance between those, Seguela type assets with 10 years plus, Lindero type assets with 15 years of reserves,
Yes.
and mix them with Yaramoco, San Jose, which are high margin, lower reserve lives, higher risk, therefore. But we're trying to balance the portfolio for the benefit of the shareholders. So we can provide optionality over time. Because if $5,000 silver, we all hope for that, but if it takes some time to come, and in the meanwhile we have to withstand some violent corrections on pricing, you don't want your companies to just go bankrupt and disappear, right?
Understood.
In fact, our business excels in prices in lower price environments because we can operate at low costs, right?
Very fair perspective. A well-grounded energy, Jorge. I think it's always great to hear from inside the company that the bird's eye view and the long-term plans, but also watching the markets every single day while running a company of this size. So I want to say this has been one of the best shares of our morning so far to start us out of the gate for our 3-day conference, Jorge. Thank you very much for your time and presentation today. I know the investors have been very engaged and interested. And as always, we'll be watching the company very closely. So thank you very much for your time today, Jorge.
Mark, thank you for the invitation. A pleasure to be here.
Our pleasure indeed. Jorge Ganoza, President and CEO of Fortuna Silver Mines, folks. Thank you for joining us. And a reminder that as this webinar ends, you'll be automatically redirected to a survey. Once that is complete, you'll be automatically sent to the next webinar. And top of the hour, we welcome Jaguar Mines. So I say thank you very much again, Jorge. The best to you in Peru. And we'll look forward to seeing you folks at the next webinar. My bless.